Respected Dr. Soumya, the dignitaries sitting in the hall, it's a pleasure to be here in front of this August gathering, stakeholders of healthcare in this country. I would like to start with congratulating Financial Express on hosting this fifth healthcare summit, which I have seen growing in number and importance year on year. As a regulator, you just heard about where this country is moving in the healthcare domain and the kind of leadership we have, the kind of policies which are being formulated for the improvement of the healthcare in this country. And the regulatory system in drugs, medical devices, cosmetics is a part of that. And I would like to spell out some of the activities which we have done and which we have plans to do, which are there in pipeline, which would impact, which will contribute to the complete development of a better healthcare for tomorrow in this country. So, as you heard, India is pharmacy of the world. So, in the interest of time, I'm not going to the statistics about the trade, the exports, the global contribution of India. I would like to be more futuristic with respect to the kind of movements I'm seeing from very close quarters as Drugs Controller of India. What is happening in the early stages of drug development, medical device development, which would actually mature to products and start contributing in different schemes and into the healthcare of this country. She also mentioned about shift from volume to value. And let me start with that. And I'm very happy to say that there are many positive signals coming in the system which are indicating that that shift has already started to happen. And soon we will be at an inflection point which would basically bring this country at a situation where we'll start become significant contributor to the innovation system globally, if I can say. Some of the signals which recently came into the system, all of you know that antibiotic approval by US FDA and CDSCO together, the Wockhart's antibiotic, any new antibiotic which came after so many years, because multinationals have actually left doing research in antibiotics. That is one example. The another one is the Glenmark story, out licensing, getting that 800 million US dollars upfront payment, a multinational taking that asset for further development from phase 1 and beyond. Similarly, if you see Sun's acquisition, a global acquisition, which is probably largest for this country, and it's actually bringing Sun into the big league on the global platform as manufacturer and researcher in drug domain. The mRNA platform, which is now established in India by this company, which is now called Immunoscript, which was earlier Genova, part of MCure, which is, I think they have now sold it off. Similarly, if you see some of the approvals, one which I like very much because it has started contributing into the public health system is about the diagnosis of the macular degeneration using AI based technology. One tool developed by Remedio, which was approved by CDSCO. And why I'm taking this name is because recently, about 2-3 weeks back, we approved the first product from AIMS for the same indication diagnosis, which is macular degeneration, which was actually developed by the doctors in AIMS, depending on the data which they have. There are tons of data which all of our uh, hospitals have. So, I mean, just to say that this early phase development activity has increased significantly in recent times in this country. And one way back in, I think, around 2004, when we, or maybe earlier, um, when this patent regime was actually being enacted in India, there was a movement in this whole country, and anywhere and everywhere, any stakeholder in the domain of which was getting impacted by patents, everywhere there was a discussion on patents. And then the patent regime came, we became patent compliant, and then the policy changed. And today there was a big apprehension that once patent comes, the whole industry will get washed out. But today, if you see from that point, in last about 20-25 years, we have actually grown significantly more than what we were doing today. We became real international players in healthcare, especially in the drug development and supply chain of drugs. The same scenario today I see happening in the space of innovation. Wherever we go today, multiple platforms from multiple channels, we see people talking and discussing about innovation. And taking the clue from that patent story which I just narrated, I think the next phase is nobody can stop India from becoming the innovator and start contributing into the global innovation ecosystem. Some more signals and the actions which I see, which supports what I say about the early phase activity and R&D momentum. Ma'am also took the name of MedTech Mitra. More than 800 startup companies in medical device domain. They have already have registered themselves on MedTech Mitra platform, and out of that, I think 680 something, they have actually got advice from MedTech Mitra, either on the regulatory front or on the protocol development front or maybe financial assistance, and all these are in the medical device space. And all of them are startup companies with one or two very bright ideas coming out of the colleges, medical colleges or engineering colleges. So that is one very good development which has happened, where CDSCO is also partnering with ICMR to run that scheme of MedTech Mitra. Similarly, very interesting development which has happened recently in this country is the research on the interface of engineering and life sciences. There are structured courses being run between one of a couple of examples which I can give is Jodhpur IIT and Jodhpur AIMS. Both of them have come together and they are actually giving a degree in at the interface by IIT Jodhpur, where both the institutes are jointly actually teaching the course and that degree is being given. And that is actually to develop these kind of concepts and products and building that understanding and research at the interface, which is so potent that I, being probably closest to the kind of research is happening at the national level in terms of the filings, in terms of the discussions, in terms of formal and informal interactions, that this particular space interface between the technology and life sciences is really active at this point in time. And this is an opportunity for all of you to actually look into it if you have not already. Similarly, if you see the activities at BIRAC, the THSTI, the BioShakti mission, the ANRF, so all these are actually giving you a lot of infrastructural, financial, intellectual support to do this early phase research in this country, and where we are trying to contribute from the point of view that we are trying to handhold many of these entrepreneurs who are actually working in this space, and they actually go through the, I call it regulatory anxiety, that how to take it forward from wherever this concept is, wherever the the theoretical concept to a product. And one of the, what my understanding is after these interaction of last 3.5 years, is that regulatory anxiety is a big issue in this country at this point in time, and this need to be solved. And within the capacity which we have, and within the boundary within which we work, we are trying to solve that problem. But I think there is more to be done in this space, and anybody who has some social service angle, and having the background of regulations, can actually contribute a lot in this space to push this whole domain forward. As a regulator, I have seen many times people talking about that regulatory system is actually creating roadblock in research. But let me give you one very simple um, feedback that many of you would know, that it looks to be a roadblock, but that is essential for our international acceptability when we go to compete in the international market. If the products are coming, if the processes are coming through a robust regulatory system, there is a more international acceptability, and you have easy access to the market. And that is one thing which is very clearly visible when you look at the medical devices space. It became fully regulated just 2 years back. October 2024, we got fully regulated, uh, this medical device industry. Earlier, it was not at all regulated. So from then to today, I was looking at the data last week, and we have seen a significant improvement in the exports of medical devices from India. It has practically doubled. About 4 years, it was just 2 billion US dollars. Today it is 4 point something, the last year's data shows. And you will see it's increasing significantly going forward because of the kind of policies, the kind of support, the kind of infrastructure is being built by the government in this space. Some of the things which we have done recently to support this whole initiative and make reforms in regulations to support this whole journey, and maybe accelerate this journey of healthcare development in this country through the drug regulations. I'll name a couple of them. First and foremost is, some of you who are from the pharma industry and would know that there was a regime of license to do R&D in this country. Whatever you want to do in lab, you wanted to have a regulator's permission. So now we have waived that off, and I call it as the, basically deregulate the R&D in this country. And you don't need to take any permission from regulator. You can just start. Only you have to notify that what you are doing, which is a digital system on our portal. You just notify and move ahead. And till you go for first human testing, you don't need to come to regulator for any permission, including preclinical talks. The preclinical talks also you can do without the regulator's permission. So that's a big step which has happened in this country to push and support R&D. And the feedback which we are getting from industry, the users of that particular um, system, they are very happy, and the momentum is building to do more and more research. The second one is on need for the license for conducting a bioequivalence studies. Bioequivalence studies is the backbone of the whole generic industry of this country, which is the current business model of this country. 90% of exports from this country, or maybe more than that, is happening based on that generic development model, which needs as an essential that bioequivalence, which is the short clinical trial to prove your product that is similar to innovator. So till now we were asking all the CROs, all the sponsors, all the companies, that if you want to do a bioequivalence study to prove that your product is similar to the innovator's product in efficacy and safety, you first come to me to take permission to do that study and then move ahead. And there was a huge unpredictability in terms of timelines, that sometimes you can get that permission in 15 days, sometimes it used to take 6 months. So now what we have done is 50% of low risk design studies, which are two-way crossover studies, we have said that you don't come to us for permission. You can do it on your own, design your protocol. These are standard protocols. You just intimate through our digital platform that you are doing this study, so that it becomes part of our database, and then move ahead and do it. So almost 3,000 NOCs in a year, now we are not into it. And it is in fact helping us also in freeing up our resources to do much more value added work, because when I was mapping the whole process, I see that I was not, the regulator was not adding any value there. It was just a permission and the related activities. So these two changes which we have done in our regulatory system is actually going to impact in long term in a huge way. And this will actually, today about 50% of bioequivalence has been freed up. Maybe in the next phase another 25% will, with the kind of confidence which is built, we will further do unshackling of the system. If you see today, we are 99% digitized in regulatory processes. Every process in CDSCO is now digital, except few of them. And that has brought so much of transparency internally and externally, and the trust in the system by the stakeholders, that is helping us do things in a much better way, in a much faster way. The digitization internally has helped me in identifying, today we have a dashboard that every level the person knows that below in the team which file is with which reviewer for how many days. And I actually ask questions in a corporate way, that why this is pending with you for so many days. So the ownership has increased significantly in CDSCO. A lot of people who use our services today and maybe 3-4 years ago, they see that change happening. The timelines have decreased in many cases by more than 50%, the approval timelines. That's a hard digital data which we have, and we have shown to many of our stakeholders who were actually living in inertia that it bahut time lag raha, bahut time lag raha. But ultimately, when they see the data, I think that discussion has gone down significantly. Similarly, if you see, this is the first time in the history of Indian regulatory system, the DIA, that Global Drug Information conference, which happened in Philadelphia last month. I was especially invited there to host a India open house. That happened for the first time. And the kind of questions we got, the kind of response we got, tells a lot about the confidence of the world increasing on our regulatory system. So moving beyond on the futuristic, I have three changes. There are so many which are in pipeline, but I think three major, which is going to change the structure of the regulatory system in this country, and the way we work and the way we respond. The first one, for the first time in the history of CDSCO, again, the finance minister took the name of CDSCO in budget speech. That in itself is a big development for us, that the country's leadership is recognizing what is happening in the regulatory space. And we have in principle approval of 1,500 new positions for CDSCO. And that has happened because we wanted, and I could convince the leadership and ministry and the stakeholders, that surprisingly we are probably one of those regulatory agencies which is not having a single internal scientific cadre to review the applications which we get for approval. We depend 100% on external experts, the subject expert committees, which is a big contributor into our system. They have actually helped us a lot in so many years in approving whatever today we have, but it has own issues. And many of you who would have interacted with them, or you would have got feedback, with all the positive intent, the nature of that whole ACC system and that ecosystem of ACC, there is the issue of continuity, there is the issue of sustainability, there is the issue of institutional memory. Unless until we have our internal cadre, it is just not possible to solve these problems. We have solved the problem of operationalization. Today, not a single project is actually deferred without discussion. If the applicant is invited, the discussions happens the same day. Earlier, 25-30% of people would go back without discussion. So a lot of changes have happened, but there are some structural problems, and this 1500 additional positions is majorly to address the issue of internal scientific cadre. This will involve people from different backgrounds, the engineers for medical device, the doctors, the clinicians, the protocol designers, the biostatisticians, the toxicologists, the CMC experts. Everybody will be hired to give a completely new system and new process and phase to CDSCO. Second one is, we are, as I talk, we have already started. The pre-bid is over. I think next 1 month we should be able to finalize that. We are developing a new digital platform for the complete end-to-end regulatory value system in this country. We call it Digital Drug Regulatory System, DDRS. It took me 3 years to basically get approval from government for whatever money we are going to spend to develop that. Most modern, state-of-the-art digital platform will be developed, where every component of regulatory value chain, CDSCO, state regulators, PGAs, and ultimately in phase 3, the manufacturers, the retailers, everybody will be part of that whole platform, so that any information is available to anybody with a click of button. And just think of the kind of time saving we will do. Today, if I write to a state, first of all, they will not respond because I don't have authority on state. If they start, if they get to basically respond, it will take 3 months, 4 months. All those informations I will have just at a click of button once this becomes operational. And the target is next 1.5 years, phase 1 we will fully operationalize, which is basically operations of CDSCO on that platform. And then we will move towards the next phase, when states will come, PGAs will come, the manufacturers will come, and the retailers will come. Another very important thing which has happened is we have created today a platform where we upload every month countries not of standard quality data. About 200 NSQ not of standard quality information is put on 200 products from different states. The state is also participating. But the good part is, now what we have done is that we issue the corrective and preventive action, which call it in short form CAPA. CAPA notices go to every company which has a NSQ, and we suspend their license till they give us satisfactory CAPA to regulator. And here we have made it a point that it should be done by CDSCO, because the issue at the state level is something different. So what it is doing is that, theoretically, if you see, with time you will see slowly all those companies who do not know how to make products, and in spite of that they are pushing their these NSQs in the market. They will either improve the product, because now forcefully they will have to understand the problem and solve the problem, then the suspension will be revoked, or the product will be cancelled and move out of the system. So slowly and slowly all these products should go out of the system, either get corrected or move out of the system. So you will see a lot of impact in time to come, and theoretically speaking the NSQ should come down. So similarly, what another very interesting thing which we have already started doing is, I have been able to convince government to let me use people from non-government resources in the subject expert committees. People with industrial experience, with drug development experience, who are not part of the government system, they are now part of my ACCs. So at least 7 or 8 of them have already started participating in it. Most of them from the drug development background, the pharmacologists and the protocol designers. And we are using them mainly in IND ACCs, in oncology, which is the most vibrant area currently. And the feedback from the industry as well as the other stakeholders is the nature of discussion has completely changed in those ACCs. The kind of discussions which are happening have changed. The kind of decisions which are being made have changed. And I'm in process of expanding it further to all other ACCs, and ambition is that at least every ACC should have one person who has got this drug development experience. With all due regards, our clinicians are practicing clinicians. They know a lot about the disease, but drug development and drug regulation is a little bit different ball game, and there is some gap there. So just to fill that gap, we have got this into, and it's working well. I think that will improve in future. So as I said at the end, there is a lot of vibrancy in this whole system, and regulatory system is also going under change. Lot of changes happening, and everybody is talking about it. People have appreciated, people have recognized that there is a functioning regulatory system currently, and people are apprehensive to get into malpractices. I'll give you one example which will give you what the way the digitization is helping us. Recently, about 1 month back, we got, so in this digital system we have made all these licensing also digital. So the export NOCs which we give, that is all digital now. The applicant has to just apply on the system sitting in their office. They don't have to come to regulator's place. The permissions also are given digitally. So that is one aspect. But what is good happening is, we actually scan continuously, keep on scanning at the back end, that what kind of NOCs are being issued. And in this, we keep more vigilance on the molecules like tramadol, tapentadol, which are NDPS and habit forming drugs. And one these kind of screening, we found that one of our officers had issued a NOC of 12 crore tablets of tramadol, 250 milligram, which is not approved anywhere in the world. The highest strength of tramadol is, I think, 50 or 100 milligram. And 250 milligram tramadol is used in African countries for this as a habit forming drug. So 12 crore tablets NOC was given to a importer in a country where the population was 20 lakhs. So even if you feed every citizen of that country, probably I don't know for how many days they will keep on eating. And it was very clear, it was a very small country in Western Africa, and because of porous land border, it actually moves into all other those neighboring countries through land and roads. And in past we have been implicated by agencies like the BBC and other world press that India has spoiled the whole generation of Western Africa. Where, I mean, whatever is the reason, but that's the reality on ground. When we dug into that um, NOC, we could find the real problem, that it was managed, and we could actually, at before just flying out, and just the exporter from India, the guy had a chartered flight booked from Delhi to Libya to take these 12 crore tablets to Libya, and from Libya to Sudan from land border, and then to uh, all these places. So we could actually stop the consignment from flying out the last day just before flying. But we could find only because this is a digital system. We have everything in front of us on screen. I could find my officer who was responsible for that. So that action is whatever happens through system will happen. We are along with NCB, we arrested one person, the trader who was actually, he should be in for next, I think, 14-16 years. Just to say that we have come to that stage now. This is just one example. I mean, these kind of many examples now are there. So with all this, as I said, everybody is talking about new regulatory systems, everybody is talking about innovation, and everybody is talking about quality today in this country. So my biggest success in last 3.5 years is sensitizing everybody to know the importance of regulatory system, a good regulatory system, and the quality. In that speech of Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, after the budget, in 2.5 minutes, I counted 2.5 minutes he spent on regulatories, and 8 times he took the name of quality. That we have to deal with quality in healthcare, in medicines, in drugs, because we have responsibility about global public health. With this, I thank everybody, the organizers for inviting me and giving me this opportunity, and the audience for a patient hearing. Thanks a lot.